Good evening, everyone. Hey, it's Derek with LGBTQ Truck Driver Network. Hey, your big gay trucker, Bobby Coffee Loy, is on the road this evening, and Jess is out on the road this evening. So I'll be taking over tonight's podcast. Hey, so a couple things I want to mention to you. Again, June 15th, Ashtabula Pride with Mona Lots and Large Marge. We're going to be up there to celebrate the rebirth of their Pride events. And then we're going to do some news touchbacks this evening afterwards. But tonight we've got Colton Worley on. Colton is a over-the-road truck driver, and we're going to talk about his life and how he balances his work life with being a married man and 5 kids. So let's bring Colton on.
Hi.
Evening, Colton. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Yeah. So Bobby was telling me you're a over-the-road driver.
Yep.
How long you been trucking?
15 years.
Okay. So you guys do van or flatbed, or what do you do?
He works for our sheriff's station. I'm the driver. I can do it all. I started out flatbedding, and now my best friend dragged me into pulling a reefer. So now I do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's one thing I hate's reefers.
Well, I mean, you get used to it, but what can you do? So
Yeah.
flatbedding, I screwed up my back. I did it for 7.5 years, and I screwed up my back, so I can't do it anymore.
Okay. What part of the country you in?
I live in Kansas.
Okay. So you have some decent weather today. You're not getting all this stuff we're getting now, all the rain and
That is correct. I've seen it all
yesterday.
over. No, I'm not getting anything. It's a beautiful 58 degrees today.
Yeah, enjoy it. We're supposed to get 6 to 8 inches of snow here tonight over in Pittsburgh. So
Nope. Nope. I'm good.
yeah, it'll be great. So how long have you guys been together?
Um, Michael and I, our relationship is really funny on how it all started. We've been married since 2018 and together for 7 years, going on 8 years, and we got married in 2018. So, I mean, like our relationship, me being a truck driver, I met him at a truck stop actually. We were using Grinder, but we weren't using Grinder as what Grinder is intended for. and we were using it as we just wanted to talk to other gay people, and I was using it to talk to gay drivers because there's not a lot of us out there. And we all know what Grinder's meant for, but the day I met him is the night I moved in. And we never were separated after that. And 2 weeks later, we got our house, and that was it. That's all she wrote. And I just kept driving and doing our thing. But I told him the day I met him, if you marry me, you marry the semi, because that's all I know how to do. And I proposed to him with my semi, and he said yes, and that's it. It's hard. It's really hard being away from him because, like I said, he works for our sheriff's department. He's not the sheriff or anything. He's just a supervisor for our local sheriff department. But yeah, it's different. It's hard
Yeah.
work to keep it going.
Yeah, so most people can't even juggle, we have a hard time juggling a relationship with a significant other and a dog, let alone 1 or 2 kids. But how many kids do you guys adopted here?
We haven't adopted any of our kids right now. We have 5.
Okay.
We started 4 years ago, right after we got married. My husband said he wanted kids. I voted no. I didn't want kids at the time because I liked having my cars and, my life where I could just do whatever I want. But now I wouldn't change it for the world, to be honest. We did foster care, and then the kids that we had went back to their family, and it broke my heart because I was attached to them. So we took a step back, and we stopped doing it for 2 years, and we just recently got back into it with our foster agency now, and I couldn't ask for a better agency. Their name is Calm. Um, they didn't treat us any different. They never looked different on us because of our sexuality like our last agency did. And they gave us, within an hour, we had 5 kids after we did all the classes and all that. They were like, hey, we have two brothers and a sister that need a home, and then we had my youngest, who's half black, half white, and then my middle child he's 100% black. So we have the rainbow, like we have every ethnicity, but we love it. Like we're gonna be adopting three of them here shortly.
Oh, that's awesome of you guys. So, how do you balance all this? Like, how do you make all this work when you're gone all week? How's he handle it?
Um, I never understood the term of it takes a village to raise a family. It really does. A lot of my friends that are around, if my kids get off school, because my husband doesn't get off work until 5, and then my kids do after school sports because they never got to do any of that stuff before. So they never got to do like football. Like my oldest is 15 and he never got to do any sports. Well, he does every sport in the world now. My daughter, who just turned 13, it does cheerleading and like everything. So their schedules pretty much um, line up with ours. Where if we keep them busy, by the time he gets off work and home, they get off of their practices or whatever, and then we go to do sports like the games that night. With my company that I work for, that I've been with for the last 7 years, um, I go out and I come home every other day, and then I'm off on Saturday and Sunday. So I make a lot of the games. So I only miss. I'm very fortunate. The company that I'm with is very small, and they're a family oriented company, and so they allow me to bounce. I only stay a day's drive away from Emporia, Kansas.
Oh,
So
that
I
makes it
I go
nice.
out and then I come right back, and then I go out and I come right back. So I make a lot of things, but I give credit where credit is due. I'm a phone parent. Um, if there's any problems, I get on the phone and talk to him like, hey, what's going on, and work it out. My husband is the one that juggles everything. I handle out on the road. I handle our finances and like our day to day life. I schedule everything. He then turns around and just does it all. I tell him, okay, this is when you need to be there. This is the kids' schedule, whatever, and he juggles all that. Like because he's a supervisor, so he can come in and out. And then if we have a buffer of my mother-in-law lives right across the street from us. So um, we're really close. Our families are really close together, which is really weird. But our families are really close by. So if we need any help, they literally will just sit there and they just jump in to help us. But
Uh,
for 90% of it, me and him do it.
That's awesome. That's a lot to juggle for anybody, let alone a truck driver.
Yeah, it's
That's
it's hard. It
crazy.
really is because you would think working 14-hour days, driving 11, dealing with shippers and receivers and going out to like Ohio because that's where my company does go. Um, we Since we're driving so much, my phone never stops going. The school calls me. I have to schedule parent teacher conferences and all this stuff. And so my phone is constantly going. And since we can't touch our phones,
Yeah.
um, we it's a battle and it's a lot of work. I work probably with scheduling everything and taking care of my kids, and like right now my husband and my kids are coming up to Topeka. um we're celebrating our birthdays. My daughter's birthday is the day before mine, so we're gonna take her out to Olive Garden. That's what she wanted. But we schedule everything. Everything has to be on track for it to work. And if something throws it off, it throws us completely off a schedule. So
Yeah.
it's
Talk
hard.
about managing a tight ship.
It really is. It really is. And my company's very lenient. Like if I need, like my son's basketball team right now is going to state. They won their subdivisions, and tonight is their state game, but I'm not going to make it because it's 4 hours away and I have to work tomorrow. So I won't be able to come home until 3 o'clock in the morning, and then get up at 5 and go to work. Can't do it. So my they a friend of ours is out there who does foster care as well. So she's sending photos and videos of our son playing and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's scheduling is hard work. When my husband works 50 hours a week, I work 70 hours a week, and my kids have a full-time schedule. Scheduling it's hard, but it's something that whenever you become a parent, even to foster kids, Michael and I, we tried to do the surrogacy thing, and she had a miscarriage. So our next best bet was to do foster care. And now that we've done it, um, I wouldn't change it because there's a lot of kids out there that need a home, that need somebody to guide them and show them love. And Michael and I, he wanted to be parents. And then once I became a parent, it was like when a couple goes and gives birth to their kid. The dad doesn't become a dad until he holds his child. I'm the same way. When my kids I didn't want to be a dad until my kids showed up on my doorstep. So, and then right then and there, I was like, you're mine. And I will
Yeah,
fight for them tooth and nail.
yeah, completely understand that one. So, how do you guys how do you guys feel living out there in Kansas? Do you guys have any problems with, being gay guys with kids, being a married couple, with the schools, with any of the sports teams, or
You
is
would
it pretty
think we would
decent?
because we live in the Bible Belt, but in our small little town that we live in a town outside of Emporia. Um, we've never been harassed. We've never been bullied in any way, shape, or form. The kids in our school, they asked questions. They thought my husband and I were roommates or we were brothers.
Well,
Like
back in the day, you
they
would have been
never,
roommates.
they didn't understand it, but there's only two gay couples in the town that I live in. And the other couple has been there way before we ever did. But it's so small. Like when we went to our gas station, I kissed him, and it flew through that town that there was a young gay couple way before we even walked back to our house because we lived a block and a half. So why drive? Um, like it flew through the town that there was a young gay couple in our town. And our school district has been amazing. Like I've got asked to chaperone the dances and like to help their cheerleaders, and like because my daughter does cheerleading. And when I was growing up in California, I met my husband in Kansas. I lived in California. I literally never went back home. When I met him
Wow.
that day, I moved into his house that night. And then I took a
Whew.
week off work to get to know him, but I lived with him. And then a week after that, we got our first house together. I made a move, we got our first house, but we've never been hated on. And I can't and it's weird because a lot of people have these horrific stories of being looked down upon because we have children and, we're a gay couple and stuff like that. No, the school has been very supportive. Our community has backed us, and they were like, just because you're gay doesn't mean anything, and you're just as screwed up as the rest of us are, like trying to raise your kids. And
But to take on five of them, whew,
yeah, that was
a
not
lot.
planned. We only wanted two, and then when we found out that because there's a thing called respite. And my husband and I
Okay.
were out camping, and we have friends that we go camping with. And what respite is when you do foster care, you could take a weekend off from parenting, quote unquote, and you could send your kids to another foster home. And this family did. And so we only had our oldest and our second youngest show up. And then we didn't know anything about the sister. Well, Michael and I fell in love with them, and I got in contact with the foster family and said, I love these kids, and one day we want them. And then they're like, well, they have a sister. Why isn't she with them? And they didn't. There was a whole backstory. It's a whole nightmare. But we ended up getting the sister. And then within an hour, we got our youngest son, who's 9, and we were trying to adopt him, but it's a whole battle. It's literally an uphill battle. The foster system is so screwed up. But
Yeah.
it is, you have to go to war. Like, you have to get attorneys involved and stuff like that. But when you get attached to these kids and you hear their stories, that's what makes your heart sink, because they need somebody to love them as well. And Michael and I, our lives are, we built our lives before we decided to have kids. We built our lives the way that we wanted them. So we paid off our house, and then we got our cars, and got the camper, and all the toys, which is why I'm in my car right now, because my Corvette club, they had a part for my car, so they were installing it, because I don't know how to do that. I don't even know how to change oil in the car. But like, I had to bring my car up to them. But they all my kids, once I got my 15, who just turned 15, I went out and bought him a car, because that's something that he never was ever. I mean, it's a Prius, okay? It's the gayest of them all. But like, he was trying to take my Corvette. So I was like, yeah, no, that's not happening, because my husband and I have 3 Corvettes. But like, I was like, no, you're getting a Prius, because I need something that has no power. And all his friends thinks it's so funny. But you know, all of them, all his friends and everything. It's just, it's hard. 5 kids is a lot. When you start out with from 0 for your whole life, and then you end up with 5, you're outnumbered. And when they figure that out, like, you're outnumbered, it's game on. And a 15-year-old who thinks he's going on 30. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of people, we're going to talk about a guy here going in the 40s that goes on. It's like going backtrack into 15. Jess is going to join us. He just popped in.
Oh,
Some
okay.
days we think he's in his 40s, going back to his mid-teens.
Hey, Jess.
Hey, Colton, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful. I just got done driving for the day.
Oh, okay.
So, 5 kids. Oh my God, no. Mm-mm. I have a hard enough time with a dog.
Yeah, we have 2 of those. We have a Saint Bernard and a little wiener dog.
Dear God.
Lord. No, that's awesome. You got a lot of support around you. You really do.
It does take a village, but like I said, 90% of it my husband does. He's the one that's, because his schedule's really more flexible than mine, and I like giving credit where credit is due, and that's him. I just schedule everything, and then I just hand it to him and say, all right, here you go. So like, our phones, we're constantly on our phones. Like, if our phones go down, we're screwed.
So, do you ever think about coming off the road and doing something more local to be home more?
No. Um, my father, I grew up in the industry. My stepdad has been driving a truck my whole life, and that's all I know. I used to be like a server for like a hot minute, and then I found out real quick that I hate having a boss, quote unquote. So no, I'm a company driver, but my company makes me feel like I'm an owner operator. Like, they just tell you, here's your load, go away, leave us alone, just make sure it gets there on time.
Mm-hmm.
They don't micromanage. They just, here's your load, make sure it gets done. The way that Michael and I have designed our lives, um, I bring home more money, and we want to give our kids such a better life than what my husband and I had growing up. My past, my 15, my 3, it comes off really weird, but I have 3 white kids. I have a 100% African American kid, and then I have a half white, half black kid. My 3 white kids, my oldest son, who's 15, his story literally mimics my childhood to a T, with his parents who are drug addicts and alcoholics, and in and out of jail, and and going in and out of prison. His life mimics mine, and with driving a truck allows me to afford the nicer things in life. But you have to, it's a give and take situation. I miss a lot of things because of my job, but my job also provides the nicer things that my kids will never have. um, Foster kids come to you with a trash bag of clothes that don't fit. Trucking allows me, with the amount of money that you make, yes, it's scary because of being a truck driver, but it pays better than going and working a normal 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, by far.
It'll provide something for my kids that, like I said, I bought my kid a Prius. We were, without driving a truck, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had a normal 9 to 5 job. I look around at my other friends who are older and they work just a plain job, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But they work at just a normal job, working at a grocery store or Walmart or whatever have you, but they can't afford to do that. They get them something that they can afford. Michael and I have built our life to where we can afford to get the nicer things, but on a budget. Like, they're nice, but it's on a budget. So yeah, we like our daughter, she's 13. She has already cut out her life because of the way that she's lived with us for the last 9 months. She already sees how I operate. She's picking up on, I put the carriage before the horse on everything I do. And I have to, because that's how Michael and I have made it. I just turned 35. We own our home. We own multiple cars. We have money in the accounts, but that all can change tomorrow. But I wanted to set our life up to where we can give our children that we adopt, because we don't want to stop at 5. We want to get more, because once you hear these children's stories, you take on their horrible, horrible stories that they've lived through, and you want to protect them and love them and shield them and give them something that they've never had. So once Michael and I have figured that out, like, it's taken us forever to figure out, but once we figure that out, we're like, okay, we want these kids to succeed in life. We want to give them a better fighting chance, because they're in a shitty situation. I don't know if we're allowed to cuss. I'm so sorry for not.
No, you're
But
good. You're good.
they're in a shittier situation than a typical child that's living at home with mom and dad. These kids don't have mom and dad or family members. Like my 3 all-white kids, they don't have family that want them. They're on their own. They have nobody. So me coming off the road, that's not an option for me right now. I want to make sure that I can give my kids everything that they want, because they've never been allotted that situation ever. Like I said, none of our kids were allowed to even play sports in school. They weren't allowed to. And now that my 15-year-old, who's a freshman, he started playing basketball or football. Then it was, what sport was after football? Basketball, yeah, and then baseball, and then track. Yeah, so him doing all that, he was like, he now sees how expensive it is, and he was like, we can't do that if we were somewhere else. And I sat there and told him, I said, this is why I do what I do. I miss the things like you guys playing your games where my husband gets to be there, and he takes, with iPhones, I'm still there, but I'm on a screen so I can watch him on an iPhone. But he now realizes I do what I do so he can do what he wants to do. He's a kid, and he's been basically taught, you're an adult at 14 years old. You need to take care of your siblings. And I didn't want to do that. So now he's starting to realize I do what I'm doing so he can do what he wants.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, first of all, how long have you been in the industry?
I've been driving a semi for 15 years.
So 15 years. Okay. So, one of the things that Derek is one of our designated people to do is for vetting and stuff like that. Have you ever came across, I know you say you haven't had any issues like at home in Kansas or anything. Have you ever found any discrimination of any kind with any of the trucking companies you've ever worked for?
Oh yeah. Okay, so so the company that I'm talking about, that I work for currently, I left back in November because I asked for a raise and I didn't get it. And I didn't really understand why. And then once I got told why, they have those stupid little cameras on our hood mirrors, and I didn't know that they would record everything you did. Well, I found a dirt lot, and I was making my semi do circles because I was trying to ruin my tires so I can get new ones, because they were already shot. So I was just trying to get them to be like, shot. I know, totally stupid.
That sounds
Well, I
like some
didn't
shit
know.
Derek would be doing.
I didn't know that those cameras were recording me going like, wee, this is so much fun, and making a dust cloud. And I didn't know they were recording me because it never came up on the satellite that it was recording me. It was. So when I asked for a raise and they told me no, and they told me why, I was like, okay, I quit. So I left and I went to a company out of Kansas City. And I got told I worked there for 3 months, and I worked my way up really quickly, and got myself a brand new 2024 Kenworth T680, which I loved. Oh my God, that truck was nice. But it was on air ride. They stretched the frame 18 inches. It was so nice. But their shop manager, when I exited out because it had a Packard motor, the crappiest of them all,
Plastic.
we had to have injector cleaner, and I asked for it. He ignored me. The guy before the shop boss, he got fired, so this guy took him over. I asked him for the injector cleaner, very polite, just like this, and he ignored me, whatever. So I was like, hey, Jim, um, there's another guy, his name is Jim, and I said, I need the injector cleaner for my truck. He went back and got it. I walked out of the office door, and the shop boss said, there goes the fucking faggot. And I turned around and I said, drop the jugs, and I said, I quit. I won't represent and I will not work as hard as I do for a company that allows a guy like that. And it's hearsay. It is hearsay. It's my word against his. And we know I know in the industry that my word is going to be nothing, because I can go to the bosses and say, hey, this guy just called me a fucking faggot. That's his words. And they're going to yank him in. He's going to deny it. I'm going to say he did. This then is going to put a target on my back working for the company. He's going to be pissed off at me, which he'll sabotage the truck. I know how this game is going to play out. I don't want to play the game. It's easier for me to bow out and just say, I quit. It's not working for me. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I got to go. And so, like right now, and I just did that. What day is today? Is today Saturday? So I just did that on Tuesday. I quit. And
Oh, wow.
so I called my last company. They've been calling me and were like, we miss you. We want you back. And I said, no, thank you, because I really like the company I work
Just don't
for.
ruin our tires anymore.
Right, right. Quit doing donuts in a dirt parking lot. But I then said, no, thank you. I greatly appreciate it, but no, whatever. And then when I quit, I was like, oh shit, honey, what do I do? He said, you didn't think this one through, did you? And I said, no. So, so he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I guess I'm going to suck up my pride and I'm going to beg for my job back. And I called him and they said, yeah, we want you back. Like, you worked for us for 7 years. I've only had 3 companies that I've worked for in the 15 years I've been driving. And so,
Shut up, Derek.
like,
I know what you're thinking.
so I started out as a flatbedder, went to that company, went to this company, and then came right back. So they were like, you just went on a 3.5 month hiatus. That's all you did. You just went on a 3.5 month hiatus. You're coming back, whatever. But I lost my truck, so that sucks. But whatever. I'll get a new one.
Lord. Hey, Truck Stop. Good to see you here today. So with everything going on in Kansas, you said you haven't had any problems locally in your neighborhood in that.
Mm-mm.
Like, so how do you feel about some of these bills and that going on? Like with the trans stuff and all this craziness that's going on in the world right now. Like, it seems like it starts in Florida, and now they're trying to pass all these crazy bills everywhere against
Well, it starts out in
the
Florida and
LGBTQ.
California. I mean, it starts in Florida, California
Well,
picks it up, and then it trickles in between. I'm going to be quite honest and blunt. I really don't follow anything like that, because whenever you turn on the news, it's always negative. I'm deathly afraid of going into like gay prides. I won't do it. When the Kansas City Chiefs parade happened, I was out when the Jason Aldean shooting happened in Vegas. I was there. That scared me to my core. And that made it to where I don't do crowds anymore.
No.
When the Chiefs won, my whole family is the huge Chiefs fans. Don't judge me. I don't care. I watch NASCAR. All they do is drive in circles and wreck. That's all I care about. But when it comes in to football, like the rest of my family is all Chiefs fans, and they all went up to that parade, and the shooting happened. I called my husband and I said, start making the phone calls, making sure everybody is good. I don't follow that kind of stuff because it's always negative. And no matter what you do, it seems like you don't have a voice anyways. I understand you do have to start somewhere and speak up and start saying something, but the second you do, you get the backlash. And look at Bobby and his husband. He started this network, or Jess. I'm sure you guys have all gotten death threats because of what you guys are doing. I can't put my kids' safety in jeopardy, so I just keep my mouth shut, do what I got to do, and go home. And so I don't follow politics. I don't follow any of that stuff because it's always negative. There's nothing ever positive that comes out of it.
I mean, we've heard things. I know Bobby's gotten some death threats. We get some pretty ignorant comments, but it's pretty tamed down because unfortunately in this industry, we have to be the voice. There's no voice. The trans driver that got kicked out of a pilot truck stop
Yeah.
that wanted to buy a drink.
Yep. I heard
Who's
about
standing
that.
up for her? Nobody. So
Nobody is.
without a group like us that's going to these truck shows, that's at Matt's making a difference. And at Matt's last year, I was there for 3 days in that booth, had a great experience with everybody. I had no issues.
Right.
I had some of the most straightest, butch, manliest men talking to me.
But what Bobby is doing is he has built something where you guys could have a voice. You just stated something that the trans woman who was in a pilot got kicked out for buying a drink or trying to buy a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Her stating something or trying to start a war on being this is wrong, and it is wrong, is not going to change something. You need more than just one person to back it up. One
But it
person
always,
is not going to
and
make
one thing that we
change.
think is, it always starts at one. One person has to start it somewhere.
But it's not. You need a group. But it won't. In my opinion, it won't. You need some, yeah, you can start it, but then you have to make it bigger. So it starts with one. You're absolutely correct. But that one voice isn't going to make a difference until you have a group standing behind it to show power that this isn't going to happen anymore. But if just one person goes in and tries to make a difference, to me, it's not gonna work because they're like, okay, next. We have bigger fish to fry than yours.
I don't know. I think we're making a difference because we've been invited to some White House galas, some
But
White
look how
House
big.
events.
But look how big this group has gotten. Look how many followers you guys, because you guys have made the difference of showing up to these
but
different
somebody
events.
like her voicing her concern to us, and it's not just her because we've got transgender members on our board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it makes a huge difference, and without us, people don't have their voice.
Right, but you just said the same thing I did. With one person coming to a
Pretty
group
much.
to make a difference. The thing is there's a lot of people in our community that's afraid to say something. In today's world, what's the backlash going to happen? What's going to happen? You can't, like when Bobby and his husband wrapped that Volvo and had the great big rainbow on it, that took balls to do.
Mm-hmm.
because of you have the ignorant drivers who think, oh, this is a straight man industry. No women can work in this. Gay men are not allowed in here. Why? What is the difference? I don't see a difference in it. But you have those people that are stuck in that mindset of, no, this is not going to happen. This isn't going to change in my watch. This is what's going to happen. You're getting a new generation that is not afraid to speak up, and they are perfectly fine of the backlash or whatever. But there's some people that are just like, no, I don't want to put my life in jeopardy, because you hear it all the time about semis at Love's truck stops. The sleepers are getting shot. out of random. Not that they're gay or whatever, but out of randomness. So if you just add that bigger target on your back of saying, hey, I'm gay, you're putting it 10 times worse out there in my opinion that, oh snap, these people are going to shoot up my truck because they hate gay people. It's scary in today's world to even announce that you're gay. It's scary to be different
It's
because you
scary
don't.
to be anybody nowadays.
Oh yeah, like
It
my
is.
my 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 son who's African American, 100%. We've had a little backlash in our town, and we've seen it because he is black and he's the only black student. He's the only black kid around and black person in our community. It was different for them because we live in a farming community. But Michael and I, we don't see his race. We see him as a child. We know he's black. We see his color. But we see him as a child that doesn't have anybody to love him. The outside community, once they realized he wasn't a threat, they embraced him. He's 12. So when I am making it on, because he for the longest time didn't have friends. He's never seen an all white school. He's always been in a school with diversity. Michael and I have had to go to the school multiple times to have an education. Hey, this is what's happening. This is different. We just got a brand new principal, whatever, this year. And my biggest worry was them calling him that nasty word. And it happened. He was called that word twice. You have to make a stand, when it comes to my kids. Oh, I'll go all in. Papa Bear, here I come. But when you're talking about a great big community of what's happening, in my opinion, this one person isn't going to make a change. You're going to have to get a group. And when I did that with the school, I had a group of people backing me. And we went in there and saying, this isn't right. We need to change this. We had students calling my son the N-word. I was ready to get the NAACP on it. I had my, educational attorneys on it. I had my own personal attorneys. Like, we went all out. We were going to go to war. And it was a miscommunication. But for 4 days, it was literally all hell. And I wasn't going to let up. And once they realized, okay, he's not backing down. In the community with our friends, we're like, this is wrong. We need to change this. That's what gave me power to make a change in our school. And it worked. But me and Michael just going in there by ourselves, it was doing nothing. It kept happening. And when I got that group behind me, that's when the change affected. It like started to take effect. And now we've had no issues. Race is a huge thing where I live. We way before we even moved in there. We live in a small rural farming country town. I mean, we are small. It's a town of white people. Where the biggest town next to us is Topeka, Emporia. There's every race there. But because of my husband and I's schedule, it sounds selfish. We can't take them to the bigger schools. We don't have the time to homeschool them or take them to the bigger schools with more ethnicity. This is our option. The only way that we're going to get out of this is if we sell our house and uproot our lives and move to a bigger house, which then puts us more in debt when we own our home outright, which then keeps me gone even more to pay the difference.
So do
Because
you think that? So do you think that that part of diversity is worse where you live, like than someone
we
being gay?
to me it's a hand in hand. He's different because of his skin color. I'm different because of my sexuality on who I'm attracted to. It goes hand in hand. He feels something completely different than what I feel. He's 12. He doesn't understand those words. You can call me every name in the book. I don't care. You can call me anything you want. I let it roll off my back. It rolls off my husband's back. But for me, it's something that I've had to get a tough skin. My childhood was horrible. I had to grow up at the age of 12. We're at the same age as him. I started working full time at 12 at a bar and cafe in California. So I've had you know, my backstory is horrible. Like everybody says, "Oh, our childhood was horrible." Yeah, but when you don't have a father because he worked offshore and was a drug addict. Your mother was an alcoholic who is now sober, but all she cared about was partying, being sexually abused from the age of 5 to 14. I didn't know that was uncommon until, you know, whatever. I raised myself at the age of 12. I had to support my family because my mom then got breast cancer, cervical cancer, couldn't work. I had to go get a job full time, go to middle school, and pay the bills. We didn't have anybody. So I knew what I wanted my life to be, and I knew when to shut the hell up. For me. Now, this, I'm just talking about me. I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking about me and my life. My life is, I know when to shut the hell up and when to speak up. If it's a battle, I'm not gonna fight you on it. But if it's a war that I know I'm gonna win, I'm coming all in. I'm going after you. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. So for me, with my son who's 12, he is my son. He calls me dad. He calls my husband dad. And people look at us all the time weird because we'll go to Walmart and he'll be like, "Hey, dad, can I have this game for an Xbox?" And people are looking for a black father. And then Michael and I will both turn around and be like, "What? What do you want?" And then people stare at us. It's 2024. Get with the program.
Well, I mean,
It
that's
doesn't.
the same thing we're saying about the LGBTQ community in trucking. It's 2024. Get with the program.
Yeah.
Most of you bigoted, what do you want to say?
Assholes.
Hateful people towards the LGBT community in trucking are, I hate to put it this way, but they're dying off.
Right.
So it is
Because
changing.
right. But
But
like what this group is doing is amazing work because there's a group of you. There's a lot of you that are running it, that are putting it out there, that are making the effort. One person doing it by themselves isn't going to affect change. You guys are going to truck shows. You guys are making it well known that when you guys are going to the gay parades and you guys are doing, whatever it is this group is doing, and that's why those Cash App and the thing, it's not lining these guys' pockets. It's actually helping this network get to these different events to put it out there like, hey, this is what's going on. But when you're one individual, I'm petrified to go to a truck stop at night. My truck is, well, I have like a pink steering wheel and a pink CB in honor of my mother who fought breast cancer and cervical cancer. So I have everything pink. My whole life is pink and Britney Spears. But like, I'm
You would get
afraid.
along with Ricky.
There's Britney right there. But like, yeah, me and Ricky are like this. Britney Spears, yeah. But like, I'm afraid to even walk into a truck stop without acting straight. I'm a walking billboard of being a homo. But I'm afraid to go in there because what is going to happen to me if I turn my back? I can't defend myself. I'm not allowed to carry a weapon of some sort in semis because you can't cross state lines without having a concealed carry. You have to know those laws. And, well, there's a lot of states that don't still like it. It's scary being a gay truck driver. It really is. But if you don't make a difference the way that you guys are, I'm in the middle of nowhere where you guys are in a bigger city. I live in farm. Like I live in a field. So my town the town that we lived in has never made us feel bad. They have always stood behind when it came for being gay. I don't think I've ever been called a faggot or a queer, fudge pack or whatever from anybody, actually. When it came to Kimon, my son, that's when we seen the change. Our skin was the same. They didn't care about who we were, what was happening behind the doors. It was the skin color that we were like, wait a minute. And that was in the very beginning. And we've had him for like 8 months now, and we've never had an issue since. And but we had a group of people behind us that helped us because we didn't know what to do. They didn't teach us that in parenting class. We have to do parenting classes, and they don't teach you that kind of stuff.
so if we were at one of these events, if we went to the truck show and that, would you be there?
No. It's a group setting. I'm petrified of being in a group. No. Because of the shootings. You can't
Yeah.
trust people's, you can't, that traumatized me being in the Vegas Jason Aldean shooting. We were there. That traumatizes somebody. I won't go to a concert, even in a open area, like whenever they have their country stampede here. I don't go. I won't go see a concert like when Taylor Swift was here. I would love to see her. I seen her when she was way back when. But like when she was here in Kansas City, my daughter wanted to go. I can't bring myself to even go. I don't like going in a restaurant, like going into like this establishment here for my daughter's birthday. I'm petrified of going in because I don't see a way out. There's only one way in, one way out.
But yours
So
is
for me,
more. So yours is more of a like a PTSD kind of
yeah,
situation,
yeah,
whereas
I
you're
will.
not. You're not against it. It's just
Correct.
that you feel like you're being targeted at some
Yeah.
point.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have my my gay flag on my camper when we go camping. I hang it. It's on my house. Like I still show that we have support or we support and but for me personally, going to a group like an open area, no, I can't do it.
So,
I'm too
if you don't mind
traumatized.
me asking, what do you consider as a group? Like, how many people to you as a group?
Anything
Like,
over
too
more than
large.
10, anything
Okay.
more than 10 people, I can't do it. I start feeling like I'm trapped and I have to leave. And I'll look at my husband and say, "Get me out of here." And he was like, "Okay," and we'll just gotta go and we'll leave. We just exit to the left. We don't make a scene. We've never made like a moment. We just exit to the left. And if somebody texts or whatever, they're like, "Hey, what happened?" And I'll explain. Like, I can't do a big group setting. So like when we go to car shows, if when my car, because I'm in my Corvette right now, when we go to car shows, I'm actually not anywhere near the group. I am away from it because I don't like being somewhere, even in the middle of an open area outside. I can't do it. I feel like I'm trapped. So I always have another one of our cars right next to us. So if anything happens, I just get in it and go, and I'll leave my other car. It's a trauma thing for me. It's not I don't support, I'm not anything like that. It's literally, it's a trauma thing for me, and I'm trying to work through it. Because my husband has been to gay prides. He's been to the one in Kansas City. He's been in the one in Wichita. He's been to a lot of them around. He's done the gay cruise. I can't even go on a gay cruise. Even though it's just gay cruises and there's a bunch of gay men, but in my head, I'm like, nope, because there could be that one person that snuck on to hurt everybody.
I take
No,
it, I
that's
can't see who said it, but a Facebook user said, "All us kids say hello. I hope that's your gang." Colton.
I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know.
It just says,
Bye.
"All us kids
That
say
yeah. That's
hello."
that's a lot of if you're on one page, you can see who it is. Sometimes you can't. But I
No, it
will
just says
say,
Facebook user, but
we there's a lot of people out there, that work with things like that and deal with it. But oh crap, am I still there? Okay,
yeah.
my
Yeah,
phone messed up. Sorry. So
we
I
can't
do want
miss
to
that
thank
orange
you.
shirt.
Do. I'm telling you, my phone's been acting up today. But I do want to thank you very much, Colton, for coming on here and sharing your views and sharing your opinions and stuff like that. Because, we don't really talk to a lot of people out in the Midwest area where they live in what we call flyover states, and there's a reason they call them that.
Yeah. Just
But
come on over.
I definitely want to thank you. And is there any last things you would like to say before we log off?
No, well, thank you guys so much for having me, and thank you so much for what you guys are doing. If the people don't understand what this Cash App is, or the Cash App thing, the QR code, that's to help spread the word. It doesn't line your guys' pockets. I was really confused on that. So I just wanted to put that out there because I'd ask. But if you can donate anything you can, that'd be greatly appreciated. Like that, it would be amazing. But no, I'm pretty much, thank you guys so much for having me. And I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck.
All
Well,
right,
thank
thanks,
you.
Colton. It's
And good
great
luck to
talking
you
to you.
too.
Thank
Have
you.
a happy birthday. Have your daughter has a
you.
happy birthday. Enjoy your meal tonight.
Thank you guys so much. You guys have a good night.
Thanks. You too.
You too,
Bye-bye.
Colton.
Bye.
All right, everybody. That was Colton Worley. So right now we're going to talk about a couple things. So I don't know if you guys saw. Jess, did you hear about the truck driver that robbed the bank up in Michigan yesterday?
I didn't hear
Don't
about
laugh
it, but it
yet.
doesn't shock. I'm sorry, it
So,
doesn't shock me any either.
He was parked in Effingham, Illinois this afternoon when the SWAT team went in. Oh, look who's here. Big Mama's on.
Big
Hang on, we got to bring on Big Mama. So, they found his truck in the parking lot today. The SWAT team went after. He was armed. He wouldn't come out of his truck. He actually committed suicide in the truck today. So, but he was truck driver that robbed the bank in Michigan today. So,
Man,
again,
I tell you what, if you ask me, suicide is just the easy way out.
It is.
It really is.
Again, if you guys are coming up here to the Northeast, they've extended the weather watches clean across New York for the rain, snow, and wind. So, Northeast Ohio, Northwest Pennsylvania, all across the state of New York, they're calling for up to 8 inches of snow with high wind warning. So, definitely check out the 511 apps and be careful while you're out there. Well, Bobby's joined us. How are you, Bobby?
We've got storms down here in Kentucky, so.
I just wanted to pop in a minute and say hi to everybody, see how everybody is doing. I am actually on the road right now, and so I just hope everybody stays safe out there. And I thank everybody for continuing to support the group, support the page. And if you haven't checked us out on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter, which is now X or whatever, and all the other social platforms, please do that. We are trying to get the YouTube numbers up, and then wherever you do watch your podcast, we pretty much are listed on like 9 different podcast channels, servers, I should say. But so just...
Yeah, I heard that. I'm on the live.
I can message you. I guess it'd be the same as the number. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and that's driver life. But I gotta go here, but I
was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, that's a low.
Somebody's done in the shower.
No. All right. I will talk to you all soon. Bye.
All right, Bobby. Be careful. All right, Jess, you enjoy your evening. I'm glad you could pop on.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna bug out of here.
And I'm sitting, by the way, just so you know, Derek, I'm sitting here still with a job, so we're good.
All right, I'm going to call you here in a minute, so we'll get the 3 queens on the phone here. But all right, everybody, it's Derek and Jess with LGBTQ Plus Truck Driver Network. Hope you could join us next week for, I forgot, is it Janice?
No, her name is Jordan Nicole.
Jordan Nicole.
She's a trans individual from TikTok, which was followed by our trans advisor, Jasmine St. James. And so, unfortunately, Jasmine can't host because she has a drag show that night. So one of us will be popping on with Jordan and making sure that gets done.
Yeah, and then end of the month, we've got the Women's Empowerment Show on the 30th with a great panel of guests coming up. So don't forget about that. We're going to start doing some more news highlights during the week. You'll see us popping on here throughout the week, just doing some really random shitty podcast. Not shitty podcast, but podcast with some random shit. So can you tell it's been a long day? I got to drink a Captain here. Yeah, so we're going to get out of here. We're going to go enjoy Saturday. You guys, everyone out there in the trucking land, if you're a supporter and ally, we thank you for joining us. Remember, all your donations count, whether it's $1, just a couple dollars. Everything helps to get us to our events and to be able to be there. Like I said, we're planning on Tampa Pride, March 23rd, Ashtabula Pride in Ashtabula, Ohio, June 15th. Then we have the Texas Truck Show at the end of June that I don't think we're going to have a booth at this year, but we will have a presence there. So, like I said, if you want to come down, hang out with us and network, you're more than welcome to. And then New Braunfels, Texas Pride, we will be at this year. We don't have a date set for that for their Riverside Pride. But
And remember, if anybody wants to be on our podcast, our first official opening for any podcast guests is middle of April. And one thing I was going to mention to Colton when he was on is on the very first weekend of April is a group called Gay Family Values. And so I found those through Bobby, and we had messaged them, and we finally got them on there. So that's something that you don't see too often in the trucking industry is gay families. And a lot it's the same thing where people don't think about who's behind the wheel of those trucks and what they have going on at home.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like you heard Colton talking today, he balances life on the road between him, his husband, and 5 kids. So it gets kind of crazy out here for all of us. So
I have everyone. That's enough.
I know. Phoebe looks so adorable tonight. Where's her outfit? Why isn't she dressed up?
Ask her. Ask her where her dress is, because I would really like to find out. Yes. It's underneath the bed somewhere.
She learns from her daddy. All right, everyone. That's it for your Big Gay Trucker podcast. Hope you have a great evening. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe if you're out on the road. We look forward to seeing you here on the week when we pop in. And again, we'll see you next week, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. East. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.